We're here in Tampa, Florida with Dr. Jacqueline Darna, CEO and medical inventor of NoMoNausea bands, a surgical product of the year nominee that holistically helps patients suffering from many ailments from motion sickness to migraines and even IBS. Thank you for having us, Jacqueline.
Thank you so much for having me.
NoMoNausea is a waterproof acupressure band infused with aromatherapy oils that is designed to prevent feelings of sickness associated with pregnancy, chemotherapy, surgical procedures, and motion sickness. They are also safe for children.
So you can find us at like CVS, Bed Bath & Beyond, Bye Bye Baby, and then now we actually have more product lines, something for your headaches and migraines called NoMo Migraine, and even better now, NoMo Sleepless Nights, a sleep product.
The idea for NoMoNausea came about after Dr. Darna underwent an emergency C-section. Sick for 3 days, doctors were even recommending putting her into a medically induced coma.
It was a shocking moment. I looked over at my husband, my brand new daughter, and my son who was already born and was like, that's not an option for me.
Through her medical training, she knew of the acupressure point along the pericardium meridian. The P6, known as the Naguan point on the wrist, alleviates nausea naturally.
Then my stepmom came walking in with a peppermint plant from Home Depot. Believe it or not, smelling the leaves immediately helped to decrease the amount of nausea and vomiting that I was feeling.
In medicine, when treating a patient with nausea, an alcohol swab is often waved in front of them while acupressure is applied to the P6. Peppermint has a high menthol content, but is much more pleasant to smell.
Peppermint itself actually is what's called a calcium channel blocker to the smooth gut muscle of the gut. So it relaxes it and it actually helps to push down any and all food. So if you push down the food, you have nothing that's actually going to end up coming up.
NoMoNausea bands set themselves apart from similar products on the market, infusing high-quality essential oils directly into the band.
It takes about 45 minutes for your body when you apply pressure to have that nerve get stimulated or aggravated. 80% of the time, because we have our clinical trials that prove it, you smell the band and 30 seconds later, you don't get sick and you stop vomiting.
Serotonin is a naturally occurring substance produced by the body, which is often called the happy chemical, and promotes feelings of well-being. Zofran, which is often prescribed to treat feelings of sickness, is a 5-HT3 antagonist, meaning it coats or blocks serotonin receptors in the belly and brain. Zofran is also teratogenic, meaning it can harm an embryo or fetus.
The body has 5 different receptors that trigger feelings of illness, and the NoMoNausea band treats 4 of the 5.
I'm very proud. We have thousands of OBGYNs that actually recommend our product as first-line defense. You know, try NoMoNausea before you do this, this, and that. Because again, we're talking about safety. The patients are taking their own sense of taking an accountability for their own health. And I think that's what we really need to do, and it's safe.
Taylor suffers from test-taking anxiety, as well as other forms of anxiousness.
I get really bad test-taking anxiety and anxiety from like an assortment of other things. And so I was looking for something that could potentially help with my anxiety, and I found the product on Amazon, and then I tried it out, and it's worked for me ever since.
28 hospital systems actually carry NoMoNausea Med Plus, our lines, in not just labor and delivery, but also in chemotherapy, oncology, and then in surgery and anesthesia, my home, where I came from.
Dr. Darna suffers from vertigo and wears her bands regularly to prevent nausea.
Dramamine, another commonly used over-the-counter medication, does nothing for motion sickness. The nausea receptor lies outside the blood-brain barrier. These medications traverse the blood-brain barrier, making you dizzy and sleepy. They essentially work by making you drowsy, so you sleep through the nausea.
And if you're sleeping, you're not puking, right? So that's actually the concept. It does nothing to help prevent or be preventative of seasickness.
Rebecca uses NoMoNausea bands while sailing with her family. She keeps them on board for guests that may experience seasickness.
And I'm a sailor. My husband and I love sailing. After meeting Jackie, I decided to buy some of the bands and take them on board, and now I wouldn't be without them.
The different nausea receptors are acetylcholine, serotonin, dopamine, histamine, and substance P. A new area of research is looking into a cannabinoid receptor, specifically the citrulline branch.
For cancer patients, patients with seizures, things of that nature, the cannabinoid receptor, especially the citrulline branch, when you talk about CBD and its medical component, citrulline branch of it, of these certain types of strain of marijuana, it's really interesting because they're so concentrated on that cannabinoid receptor.
NoMoMigraine is a new product that developed during the clinical trials of NoMoNausea. These studies showed a reduction in headaches, so they continued to develop the product, adding Brazilian butternut orange,
which is again, one of those citrulline type family members, I guess you could say. And it's kind of a Native American old folklore, but it really works. So it actually helps to treat the headache or migraine and help to increase the length of time until the next one. It's interesting, 1 out of every 4 medications come from the Amazon.
NoMo Sleepless Nights was developed to help the 70% of women who do not get a good night's rest.
And all we're doing is utilizing HT7, which is an acupressure point on the side of the wrist near the pinky, and combining that with lavender. But lavender is not just a pretty smell. There's hundreds of components actually in most lavender, but linalool is really one of the only ones that's medically utilized to create a physiological effect, to put you to sleep.
The bands have a resealable packaging, allowing the scent to last for about 2 weeks. Unopened packages have a shelf life of around 5 years.
Whenever it's actually used, your body is absorbing some of it. And then the aromatic component for the smell. But even if you put it under a scuba suit, for example, you'll notice that it'll still smell when you get outside of the water because it's made as 2 entities molded together as one.
NoMoNausea has even developed bands for dogs, which help relieve anxiety, motion sickness, post-operative vomiting, chemotherapy, and diet-related nausea. The bands are easy to use, lick-approved, and safe for the animal.
Dr. Darna has made it her mission to help others like herself who suffer from nausea and eliminate the discomfort with a completely safe, non-prescription remedy that utilizes what nature has provided. Make sure you stay tuned. Coming up after the break, a story of recovery.